Hello friends, my name is Jitendra Bafna. I am a senior MuleSoft architect. In this video, we will going to see how to achieve a guaranteed delivery in JMS using MuleSoft Object Store. Basically, we will make like use of Object Store. So Object Store is nothing like it's kind of a store where we can store any kind of key value pair. We can retrieve the key value pair. So so let me show you let me go to MuleSoft document and let me type Object Store MuleSoft. So basically Object Store application, as I mentioned, is used to store the data, states, various kind of thing. So Object Store are two kind, either it's persistent or it's transient. So in case of persistent, might be slow but it's reliable, but transient is faster but it's not reliable. So once you restart your worker or cloud or application, in that case your data will be lost in case of transient, but in case of persistent, data will be not lost. Okay, so let me move to my Anypoint Studio, and first thing we will drag and drop a HTTP listener. So basically what I will do, I will post the message using HTTP listener and I will publish it to the JMS queue. So for that I have ActiveMQ. I have already one queue exists, that is test queue in my ActiveMQ. So what I can do, JMS, then I can say publish. So I can use the publish operation. The first thing I have to do the connector configuration. I can click on this plus sign. So you have to configure all those things. Okay, the next thing, you can provide the username, then you can use edit inline factory configuration and provide your broker URL here, TCP localhost 61616. that's a broker URL. Now we have configured the broker URL, but still we have to do some configuration, like we have to provide the queue name. So test queue, and the destination type will be queue. You can say send correlation ID, yes or no, that's fine, but I will define my content type is always application/JSON. okay, so these are the configuration we need to do. Now once we have done the configurations, just save everything. Now next thing, I want to read this message on new message. I have a method on new message which will read the message as soon as it come into the queue. So I will use the same connector configuration which I have done, from where we have to read from test queue. What type of consumer is, it's a queue consumer. What will be the content type, it's application/JSON. Now next thing, I have to post this message. So first I will log it, payload. I want to post this message to some HTTP listener. So let me remove logger from here. I will move it to this HTTP listener. So some HTTP, I am creating some HTTP requester where I will post the message. So I can say something like this, process. Okay, simple. And I can move this logger into this listener. Now here I can use HTTP requester. Okay, on new message, whenever message come, it will call this particular listener. Let me configure this. So I can say it's a post. Okay, it's there. Then I will directly configure the URL http local host 8081/process. Okay, so let me test this full flow. I will save everything and let's see what happens. So generally what will happen, so first I will post the message using on this JMS listener. It will publish to test queue in ActiveMQ. Then on new message will read the message from the queue and it will call HTTP requester, and this HTTP requester will call this listener, and finally it will log the message. Let's wait, application deployment sometimes takes time, so let's wait for a few seconds. Sometime it try to deploy it multiple times. Okay, so I have one post. I use post and I will post the message on JMS. Send. I post the message. Let's see what happens in a, see, it has logged the message, right? So our log, so we have posted the message on this listener, and this listener has published the message to queue. From this particular flow read the message from queue, and it called the HTTP listener, and this listener has done the logging. Now I will show one more scenario. I am just changing this to 8082 or something like that. Now I will try to process the message. I will save that. It should, in this case it should get error out. Let's wait while application is deploying. Let's wait, it's still getting deployed. So basically I have already explained in my last video like how you can do the persistent or guaranteed delivery using the option provided by JMS, but in this video we will going to use the object store for achieving same thing. Sending. I got the error because it was saying there is a no listener on port 8082 because this particular URL have a listener on 8081. But now my problem is, how can I retrieve the message? My message has been filled now. How can I retrieve it? Right? We haven't handled that. Right? So we need to handle that part. So what I will do, I will call try and catch in my flow, and I put request under try and catch. Okay, and on error propagate, I can drag and drop on error propagate in error handling, and I can say any type of error. Then under that I can drag and drop object store, and I will store the message which has been filled. So I can use the object store operation. Let's wait. So under that I have to I have to give the key. So you can use the correlation ID, or I will use something like, you can use any unique ID, so make sure it must be unique every time it generated. So I'm just using for time being, I using date, so y mm dd hs, and what I have to store the payload, and I will create one object store. So basically I want persistent object store. I want like 100. I can handle only, I can have 100 messages or 100 message in my, or 100 key value pair in my object store. If 101, it will not accept it. Okay, so you make sure, like, because it's a in memory process, right? So it keep everything in memory. So always make sure like you don't load the object store. And apart from that, like on when you deploy the application on the Cloud Hub, you get the limited storage for the object store, but on Prima it's fine, like you may get some additional storage depending on your configuration. But on Cloud Hub you get like 10-15 MB. I don't know the exact I think it's 10-15 MB, so you get that much. So make sure, like so you don't store too much of the messages. Also you give the TTL, so I can say 10 hours. So after 10 hours the message will get expire, will get removed from the your object store. So time to live basically. So I'm defining that time to live. Okay, so you can provide this of the configuration, say okay. So now I will save my application. Once I'll save it, it will deploy the application. It's deploying. Let's wait for a few more minutes or few more seconds. Let me try now. It's redeploying. Wait again. Sometimes it takes some time for complete deployment. Okay, now it's deployed. Let me send the request. It got filled, which is right. Let me send the request. It should get filled. So I have sent the 2 requests, both are filled. Okay, so now how I can check what are data in my object store basically, how can I check this? So basically I will use one HTTP listener and I will use the retrieve key operation. So it will retrieve all the keys in the array format. So what I can do, I can drag and drop one more HTTP listener. What I have to do, I have to retrieve, and if somebody want to retrieve and reprocess the message, how he can do that? So I can say reprocess. I want to reprocess the message, so I give the path reprocess. Then I can go to object store. The first I will retrieve all the keys. Okay, so for retrieving all the keys, you just point the object store which you have created. Fine, let me save the application and let's see how many messages in this. I can say retrieve. Sorry, it's not retrieve, it's reprocess, I think. Yeah, let's wait while application is getting deployed. It's deployed. Let me send the request. See, I got the 2 ID, right? My 2 message has been filled. So these are the 2 keys, I have received it. So now I want to process this data, so which got filled, I have to reprocess it. So now this is the array, so I want to process one by one, so I can use for each. So basically what I will do, so now retrieve all keys and then I can here for each. Okay, under for each I will read a variable. So for each, what it will do, it will give one key at a time. It will automatically split. We don't have to define anything because it's a simple array. So for each taken automatically take care of that simple array. I will set a variable, okay, inside the for each. So I want to set with that ID, the key, object store key. So I can say v key, and the variable will be the payload because it will accept that as a payload. Now next thing, I have to retrieve a value. So there is a retrieve function. So retrieve all will retrieve all the values, but I want to retrieve one by one, to process one by one. So I can use retrieve. Again you have to give a key. So your key is vars dot v key. so which you are where you are reading the key, and always give the proper object store. Now you can log the value, so it will retrieve the payload and we can log that. And finally, once the processing everything is done, you can remove that entry because the processing has been done. Either you can use the clear operation, okay, which will clear complete object store, but in my case I am doing one by one. Vars dot v key and always point to that particular object store. Now at the end I can say logger outside the object store, and you can say a payload, not payload, sorry, I can say processing complete. Okay. And you can save everything. Once you save, so still you have a two messages in your object store. If you want to post more, you can do that. In that case there will be more, like 3 messages. But let's process 2 first. Okay, let's wait. The application may deploy for second time again. Okay. So let me reprocess it. Let me make bit bigger this particular console, and let me clear it. Clear the console. Let me post the message. I will reprocess it. So this is successful, and you can see the both message has been reprocessed. So you can see that, so basically it retrieved the message, I just logged it. So that is our whole intention, right? We just have to log it. So both value has been logged correctly, right? Now let me clear it again. And at the end you will see a processing completed. So let me try to send again. First I will clear the console, reprocess. So there is a no process available to reprocess. That's why you cannot see anything into the logger, right? So what I will do, I will try to post some data again. So JMS. So I have already body here. I can say send. So one message. So you can see it may get error out. Okay. Let me post 3 messages. 2, 3, 4, 5. I post the 5 messages. Now I will change it to, I can say get and reprocess. Let me send it. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 messages has been reprocessed. So I can show that in my console. So you can see 1 payload, second, third, fourth and fifth, right? Now if I try to process it now, so you will get an empty array back. You got the empty array back. Nothing is been processed because nothing is left in the my object store. So that is how you can fulfill the guaranteed delivery. Now what I will do, this is the last thing I am doing it. So I will change the port again to the correct port. So I want to end this session with happy flow. Save all. So let's wait. You can ignore that error. So it will retry it. It will restart, sorry. So let me change this to JMS. Instead of I will use the post method. Let me check it's deployed. I have a body here. Let me send what happens. So no error, it's properly logged the message. So right now let me try, let me check reprocess. You can use get. So I think it should return the empty array. So nothing has been stored in the object store because the last message was successful. So we have learned lot of things like various operation for the object store, like how we can achieve no message loss, how we can process the message from the object store, like how we can retrieve the key, how we can retrieve the values, how we can remove the key value pair from the object store. So there are many things we have learned in this video. I hope you like the video. If you like the video, please click on subscribe and the like button. Thanks for watching.